As you may have seen, I recently tried my first attempt at Pokemon Leafgreen, getting to the final championship battle with 2 Pokemon left and just barely missing out the win with Darwin the Vaporeon, and losing to our infamous rival, the Frederick Klefkes. After this tough loss, I took roughly 2 weeks to cope, and knew I needed to hop back in with even more determination, caving to the most depraved Nuzlocke strategies to win once and for all. And upload another video before GTA 6, of course. This is the story of attempt number 5. In classic PBO fashion, we name our rival the Frederick Klefkes, of course, since we again have not won against him. Until this arc is complete, it's gotta stay. We head to the professor's laboratory and stay on theme of Leafgreen by picking up LeBron V5, the Bulbasaur, as our starter. And we actually beat our rival in the professor's lab, a good sign for what is coming ahead. I pick up my encounters in Remy the Rattata on Route 1, Hummus the Spearow on Route 22, SMP 500 on Route 2, and accidentally critical hit our Metapod in Viridian Forest. Utilizing Hummus with Peck, we easily go through Viridian Forest, and like all of our previous runs, LeBron the Bulbasaur can easily take out Brock, the first gym leader, once it learns Vine Whip at level 10, taking down both Geodude and Onix since they are quad weak to it. I defeat all the trainers in Route 3 and finally get a rare encounter, Flora the Jigglypuff. Now, to be honest, I did not really know how to feel about this guy. We get access to a Moonstone in Mount Moon, which gives a really powerful evolution for early game in Wigglytuff with a 140 base stat HP and 70 and 75 base stat in attack and special attack respectively. But Jigglypuff doesn't really learn moves except for Body Slam at level 34, and it loses access to leveling up moves once evolving, so I really have yet to decide what to do with it. I pick up Zubat in Mount Moon, and while fighting trainers in Mount Moon, get my first evolution of evolving Bulbasaur into Ivysaur. I make my way out of Mount Moon and realize something. Jigglypuff can actually learn Mega Punch from these tutors, which is 80 base damage, 85% accurate stab, which is broken for early game, meaning Wigglytuff can be incredibly strong. So I went ahead and evolved her and will be keeping it on the team for now. I pick up Yang the Mankey on Route 4 and train until most of my Pokemon are at level 20, but in the process I lose Remy the Rattata to a critical hit quick attack from a wild Rattata, which really sucks since our Raticate in the previous run put in a lot of work for us. I also get my Hummus to evolve into Fearow at level 20, and at that point I'm just ready to take on a rival at the Nugget Bridge. I lead off with Hummus while Pidgeotto comes out. I go for Fury Attack, getting 3 hits and doing almost half HP, making Peck the next turn take it out with only taking minimal damage from Quick Attack. Next, Rattata comes out. I go for a Peck, and thankfully the Rattata just doesn't go for Hyper Fang, which is its strongest move, and decides to go for Tackle instead, so I can easily take it out with another Peck next turn. Out comes Charmander, our rival's ace, so I decided to switch out and use our ace card and Flora the Wigglytuff, who takes an Ember on switch in, absolutely eating it up, and we go for a Mega Punch doing over half. Even when we put the Charmander in Blaze range, meaning it gets a boost to its Ember, Flora lives another Ember and takes it down with Pound. Very close, but Flora gets the job done by Mega Punching the final Abra. I defeat the Nugget Bridge trainers and decide to go ahead and face the second gym leader, Misty, since I'm getting close to going over the level cap. She leads off with Staryu, and I lead with LeBron. Luckily, because of all my previous attempts, we understand it now. And with my mastermind IQ of spamming Vine Whips, we easily take down a Staryu. But I do get left off with a confusion from Staryu's Water Pulse. Misty's ace Pokemon Starmie comes out, and due to that confusion chance, I'm feeling a bit iffy on staying in here, so I decide to switch into Flora the Wigglytuff, taking a Swift fairly easily on switch in. But this next turn is what matters the most, as I take a Water Pulse and leg a Mega Punch doing great damage. I take another Water Pulse and live, but Flora's prescription was out of date, meaning I have to make another switch into Hummus the Fearow, taking Water Pulse damage and almost doing half HP. Depending on the roll, our Hummus might go down, but I have to stay in to try to get more damage. And luckily we hold on with just 2 HP, Hummus is extremely underrated, and we get off another peck. I can now go into LeBron easily on the resisted water pulse and live a swift on the following turn, taking it down with a vine whip. And we get the second gym badge completely riskless. I go on to Route 25, delaying my encounters to hopefully get an Abra later on, and save Bill the PC guy from his machine, which he turned himself into a Pokemon somehow, and is this really never going to get brought up again in another Pokemon game? Oh well. I catch a Bellsprout on Route 5, a Meowth on Route 6, Cappy the Magikarp in Vermilion City from Old Rod Fishing, Mow the Diglett from Diglett Cave, and Bald the Drowsy from Route 11. I go back to Route 25 to hopefully get an Abra and get a Caterpie instead, since my failed Metapod encounter in Viridian Forest. But I do have a second chance for it on Route 24, we get Weedle instead. Ouch. I do some more training before heading into the SS to take on the Frederick Klefkis once again. He leads off with Pidgeotto as I lead off with Hummus the Fearow. I get hit with Quick Attack while landing 2 hits with Fury Attack. Wanting to guarantee a hit, I go for Peck, taking Gust damage, and then follow up with another pick, taking down Pidgeotto. But now comes up the threat that is Raticate with a monstrous Hyper Fang, so I have to switch into LeBron, but we take it relatively well. I go for Sleep Powder and next turn luckily land, allowing me to go for Leech Seed the following turn. With Raticate asleep, I feel confident going for Razor Leaf into Tackle to take down Raticate. With Raticate down, out comes Kadabra, which at this stage of the game, Kadabra is kind of broken, with 120 base special attack and 105 speed. These confusions are about to hit hard. So I go hard into our Drowsy as it's our only resist to confusion, and luckily we don't even take any damage since it goes for Disable, and double into Flora the Wigglytuff taking a Kinesis. Which, for those that don't know, is an 80% accurate move to just lower accuracy. It's pretty bad, but considering I have an inaccurate Mega Punch, it could be threatening here. We do, however, land our Pound the next turn, doing over half HP, but I get hit with a Disable, meaning the following turn, staying in risks Mega Punch landing, which I don't want to do. So I go hard Hummus, taking a confusion on switch in, which a critical hit would have killed me. And I get confused. This was by far the worst play I have made so far. But this does give me the opportunity to double to Flora once again, with no accuracy drops. I take a critical hit confusion, and get hit with Kinesis the following turn, meaning I have to land this Pound, and luckily I do. Next is Charmeleon, our rival's ace. And honestly, I was so focused on taking down Kadabra that this thing might be a problem. With decent HP left, I decide to stay in on Charmeleon as it goes for a Smokescreen, which severely impacts us as we miss our Mega Punch. Oh god, this is not looking good. Knowing where this is headed, I decide to double into Bald the Drowsy, taking a Smokescreen and then double back into Wigglytuff, so I have no accuracy drops. I take an Ember on switch in, so I take another Ember as I finally land a Mega Punch. But not even realizing what my own HP is at, I take a critical hit Ember, bringing me down to 2 HP. Another close call, and if I put Charmeleon into plays range, I would have lost my Flora here. We beat our rival, but man, that did not feel good, like, at all. I think I'm gonna try to keep it a little bit more strategic next time. I then rub out the captain on the SSN and get rewarded with the cut HM, meaning after some training to get closer to the level cap and digging through trash in the 3rd gym, we can finally take on Surge. He leads off with Voltorb while I lead off with Mow the Diglett. I gave Diglett the Dig TM before the battle, so we can outspeed the Voltorb and take it out the following turn. Next is Pikachu, which I take an unfortunate Quick Attack before going for my Dig, but I'm able to take it out next turn without getting a Static Proc. Out comes Surge's ace, Pokemon Raichu. Raichu goes for Double Team, and I do go for Magnitude so that I don't have to risk 2 double teams if I went for Dig. Next turn, a Raichu goes for Quick Attack, and another critical hit, but I live on 3 HP. What is happening with this run? The vibes are definitely off, and these don't feel like great wins. I work my way through Route 9, taking down trainers and training up our Cappy the Magikarp, and use our Meowth as just a pickup mon in our party to grab random items. Normally, pickup ability is a trash ability, but in this game, since berries are not actually easily acquirable in the game, you can get pretty solid berries like Orans, Chestos, Rost, etc., so it's actually pretty useful. I catch a Voltorb on Route 10 and a Geodude in Rock Tunnel. Also, why does Rock Tunnel suck so much? Like, it's just unreasonably long, and I hate only seeing one block in front of me because of the flash mechanics. Like, could it not at least be 2 to 3? Anyways, we get another evolution for Mo as he evolves into Dugtrio in Rock Tunnel, and we thankfully make it out the cave and into Lavender Town. We catch Prim the Vulpix on Route 8 and grab my Eevee in Celadon City. I actually decide to add Prim to the team since it might not be half bad for the 4th gym being a grass type. So I continue to train with all the route trainers on Route 8 and in the Team Rocket hideout underneath the game corner. Now we're ready to take on Erica in the Celadon City gym. She leads off with Victory Bell while I lead off with Hummus the Fearow. I immediately go for Aerial Ace, not picking up the KO, and get hit with a Stun Spore. Erica uses a Hyper Potion as I land another Aerial Ace, bringing it to red HP once again. Victory Bell now outspeeds me and goes for Acid, and I get fully paralyzed. Again, Acid comes off and I get fully parried again, but third time is the charm as we finally get off our Aerial Ace. Now comes out Tangela, which really does not have a strong move to work with, so I go hard into Prim the Vulpix as it goes for Ingrain. I'll immediately throw off a Willow to begin chipping it down and dodge a Poison Powder, but Erica reveals she has a full heal as I land an Ember. But the second Ember is just too much damage, so we take down Tangela, and now we're on to Erica's ace Pokemon, Vileplume. I miss a Will-O-Wisp and get hit with the Stun Spore, so I decided to switch hard into LeBron on the Acid and go for a Sleep Powder, and I do land it. I start to spam Tackle just to get some preemptive damage until it wakes up. I then miss back-to-back Sleep Powders and catch a Stun Spore and more Acid damage in the process. But after getting Vileplume low, I double into our powerhouse Flora the Wigglytuff to land 2 strong Mega Punches as Vileplume stays asleep, and with that, we get the Rainbow Badge. Not too bad with this fight. Next up is Giovanni in Team Rocket Hideout. He leads off with Onix as I mistakenly lead Vulpix, but have time to double into LeBron with no risk at all, and take it down with a Razor Leaf. Out comes Rhyhorn, who goes down to the same quad effective Razor Leaf. And finally is Giovanni's ace Pokemon, Kangaskhan. I stay in on the always fake out turn 1, and go for Leech Seed the second turn, while my defense gets lowered by Tail Whip. I double into Flora the Wigglytuff on another Tail Whip, but I'm just so scared of Mega Punch at this point, I'm just going to keep pivoting on Kangaskhan moves, and let Leech Seed do all the work. Which is actually what ends up happening. I just keep switching on Tail Whips or Bites, as it really never went for Mega Punch. We take down Giovanni and get access to the Silph Scope to get to the Marowak in Pokemon Tower. We do have to fight our rival in the Pokemon Tower, but since we pushed it back after the 4th gym, our level cap allows us to just beat it easily, so I won't really go over it. We catch Gabba the Ghastly in Pokemon Tower, and while training with Prim, get hit with the Confuse Ray, and then the following turn hit ourselves, and we land on the perfect amount of HP 23 to die to a Ghastly's Nightshade. Damn. I was actually really excited to try and get a Ninetales, but I greedily was holding out to get an early Flamethrower on it. We're back to the box when I decide to pull out Gabba the Ghastly. I mentioned in the other video, but I do allow trade evolutions at level 40 by using PK Hex, so we can get more options in our playthrough. We take down Marowak and save the other old guy from Team Rocket, giving us the Pokeflute and the option to catch Snorlax on 2 routes. I go on to Route 12, and with some luck and tons of Great Balls, catch Big Boy the Snorlax. Objectively, Snorlax is just a better Wigglytuff with stronger stats like 160 base HP and 110 attack, and Headbutt and the future move of Body Slam, so I do swap them out. Sorry Flora, but you were extremely useful for the early game. While on Route 12, I evolve our Ghastly into Haunter and give it Psychic TM from Saffron City. And even Haunter's stats at the moment are just monstrous, with a 115 special attack stat and a 95 speed stat. Even non-stab Psychics are just one-shotting neutral Pokemon. I also get another evolution in Ivysaur to Venusaur, and we start to catch more encounters, like Venonat on Route 13, Ditto on Route 15, Nidoran female in the Safari Zone, and get another evolution in Cappy the Magikarp to Gyarados while training in Silphco, and then finally Haunter to Gengar in the Fuchsia City Gym. Now we take on Koga, the Poison-type gym leader, who leads off with Coughing while I lead Gabba the Gengar and just immediately nuke it with a Psychic. Out comes Muck, one of the only Pokemon to really live a Psychic, so I switch into Mo the Dugtrio as he minimizes. I need to start guaranteeing some damage, so I start spamming Magnitudes. I get hit with Sludge plus Poison and have to switch into Hummus the Fearow, so I can start Air Lacing, which always lands, and I take it down with another Air Lace. Okay, just kidding, he Hyper Potioned. I go Big Boy to try to land a Body Slam, and eventually get it, but awesome, another Hyper Potion. I do have Rest plus Snore on Snorlax, so I don't think we can lose this interaction unless I am extremely unlucky, which I am, and not feeling too lucky, I go into LeBron, who clutches up on the Leech Seed land so we can just 1v1 this thing. Thank you, my goat. It's back to our regular schedule as Coughing comes out so we can go hard Gabba the Gengar on Sledge and spam Psychics again, taking down Coughing and Wheezing. And with that, we have Gym Badge number 5. Here we go again. On to the next, our rival at Silphco. He leads off with Pidgeot while I lead Hummus the Fearow, and I get off an Air Lace and get reduced attack from Feather Dance. I pivot to Gyarados to get off an Intimidate and take Wing Attack damage. I double back to Fearow to reset my attack, go for 2 Air Laces to take out the Pidgeot. Out next is Gyarados, but I have always had a good counter to this in LeBron the Venusaur. On switch in, I take a Dragon Rage, but it doesn't really matter since Sleep Powder plus Leech Seed always allows me to 1v1 it very easily. Next is Execute. So I pivot to Gyarados since I have a high special defense stat, and then double to Snorlax, who really has great bulk, and take it down with 2 Body Slams. And this is really helpful to have Snorlax out with full HP as Alakazam comes out. Normally quite burdensome from my previous attempts, but Big Boy takes it down with 2 Body Slams, but Zam does get a last second Future Sight off. Out comes our rival's ace Pokemon Charizard, and I take a Flamethrower while I go for Yawn. And here it comes, the biggest risk ever. I take another Flamethrower, and with Future Sight incoming, I luckily don't get paralyzed and get off a rest, meaning I can survive and start 1v1ing this thing. And that's what happened. We took down the Charizard, and finally beating the rival felt like we had some options. I then heal up and jump into the Giovanni fight. He leads off a Nidorino as I lead Gabba the Gengar and nuke it with Psychic. Out comes Rhyhorn, so I go Venusaur to take it down with quad effective Razor Leaf. Next is Kangaskhan, so I pivot Gabba to take the guaranteed fake out, and then decide to go for Psychic. Yes, this Kangaskhan does have Bite, but I think I can at least live a few since Dark type moves in this game are special. And I'm able to take down Kang with 2 more Psychics. Next is Nidoqueen, who gets easily 2-shot by Psychic and doesn't really have any moves to hit me. With Giovanni down, I was leaving the Silphco, and just so happened to talk to this random guy next to where our rival faced me, and he gives me the Lapras, which, how did I not know about this guy? Next up on the hit list is Sabrina, the Psychic type gym leader. With no resistances or immunities to Psychic, this can be quite a difficult fight. She leads with Kadabra while I lead with Hummus the Fearow, and for some reason Hummus just slices Kadabra like butter with an Aerial Ace. Out comes Mr. Mime, who takes half from an Aerial Ace and sets up a Calm Mind. Wrong move, as he just dies to another one. Next is Venomoth, who I almost take out with Aerial Ace and get hit with a Supersonic. A Hyper Potion comes out, and I unfortunately hit myself, but land the next one, taking a Psybeam. Another Hyper Potion, but I still continue to land my Aerial Aces, taking down the Moth. Out comes Sabrina's Ace Alakazam, with a nasty Calm Mind Recover Psychic set. So I go Snorlax on Psychic, not taking it as well as I wanted to, and take another Psychic next turn to land a Yawn. I then go into Hummus the Fearow as he goes for Future Sight, thankfully. So now I need to come up with a game plan to avoid this Future Sight. Sabrina gets off a full heal as I go for a fly, completely misplaying when the Future Sight was going to land, and lose Hummus, one of the OGs. I believe it was Route 22 just off of Viridian City where we got this guy. His sacrifice will not be in vain, as Mo has an incredible speed stat and can take down Zam with a slash. Rip Hummus. Technically, I could have delayed going for Fly, but essentially someone had to go down there, since Alakazam being awake likely means he's going for Psychic since he sees a KO, and if I switched out, I'm taking a Psychic plus Future Sight, which guarantees to nuke one of my party members. Sabrina will forever be a hard gym for Generation 1, but we do get our 6th gym badge. With Hummus down, I have to make some hard decisions for my team, but wait for now. I catch more encounters like Slowpoke and Fuchsia City, Tentacool on Route 19, Seal and Seafoam Islands, and Grimer in the Pokemon Mansion. And after the maze to get the key in the Pokemon Mansion, I can take on the Cinnabar Island gym leader Blaine. Although I'm quite severely under the level cap, it shouldn't be a problem, right? He leads off with a Growlithe while I lead with Dugtrio, immediately forgetting about Intimidate and double into Cappy on the Fire Blast, also picking up a burn. I almost take it out with Surf, but another Fire Blast is just too strong, so I switch into Big Boy while he goes for a Hyper Potion. And somehow we just one-shot it with Body Slam. Out comes Ponyta. Another Fire Blast incoming, but Big Boy eats and critical hits it with Body Slam. Out comes Rapidash. We eat another Fire Blast and another critical hit takes out Rapidash again. I cannot stop just saying, the biggest, the largest. As Snorlax is cruising through this gym, out comes Blaine's ace Pokemon Arcanine. And I'm like, fuck it, we came this far, and live another Fire Blast, living on red HP and land a Yawn. Just what I need to do to win. I still have to have one more Pokemon to take a Fire Blast, so I go into my bruh, the temporary Slowpoke encounter, and just get nuked. I guess this future was not too bright. We do, however, get a free switch to Mo, who can take out Arcanine with a critical hit magnitude and pick up the 7th gym badge. With my 6th party slot opened up, I end up picking up What the Lapras. It has a very similar stat spread to Vaporeon, but not as high as a special attack stat, and more weaknesses to its ice and water typing. I get Aerodactyl at the Fossil Restorer at the Cinnabar Island house and work through the islands to help out Bill. I ultimately decide to not try to train up to the level cap and jump straight into the Giovanni fight. He leads off with the Rhyhorn as I lead off with Cappy the Gyarados. I go for Surf to easily one-shot the Rhyhorn, and out comes Giovanni's Ace, which is ironically another Rhyhorn that gets one-shot by Surf. Next up is Dugtrio, in which I stay in to take a slash and KO it with another Surf. Next is the much more powerful Nidoqueen. I again stay in going for a Surf doing half, and take a Body Slam in the process plus Paralysis. This prevents me from really staying in, so I decide to switch to Gab the Gengar on the Body Slam and take it out with a Psychic. Next up is Nidoking, who almost gets taken down by Psychic immediately, but Nidoqueen goes for Earthquake, but I have Levitate, which is just a broken ability for Gengar and can easily take out Nidoking with another Psychic. Even though we were severely under-leveled, we take down Giovanni easily. Now, this is where things get serious. I'm looking into the face of our rival fight into the Elite Four and Champion fight as our final battles in order to beat the game. I know what must be done, and coincidentally, I think the game developers knew as well. After beating Giovanni and using the item finder, you can actually pick up the Macho Brace, which is an item that gives you double the EV points when you defeat a Pokemon. And yes, I am so driven to win that I will EV train. So that's what I did. I went on Route 1 to get Speed EVs from Rattatas and Pidgeys, Viridian Forest to grind Caterpies for HP EVs, Bellsprouts on Route 24 for Attack EVs, and Ghastlies in the Pokemon Tower for Special Attack EVs. I am not joking when I say this took forever. Especially since I had to run away from Pokemon that I didn't want the EVs for, but most of the time I would just mash A so much I would pick up random EVs here and there. I finished EVing my team and went to Mount Ember to get to the level cap, where disaster struck. I was mashing A with Mo the Dugtrio to land a slash on a Wild Fearow, not picking up the 2 at KO, and take a critical hit Drill Peck, taking down Dugtrio. Ouch. So I have to start back up with a new Mon and Gia the Aerodactyl again, spending a long time EV training and then back to leveling up in Mount Ember. And unfortunately, I lost footage of this, but lost our LeBron the Venusaur while mashing Strength against a Magmar who critical hit us with Flamethrower. So we are now going up against the rest of the game without our MVP of every single run, our starter, LeBron Jr. the 5th. May his presence continue onward with us. I again have to EV train Queen the Nidorina, which was just a nightmare of time to spend to keep doing on a Pokemon that might just end up being lost again. So I decided to just go into the rival fight without leveling it up. So on Route 22, we feel the disturbing presence of a Pokemon Showdown draft player, the Frederick Klefkes, who is blocking our path of becoming champion. He sends out Pidgeot while I send out Gia the Aerodactyl, who outspeeds and takes it out with an ancient power. Next is Gyarados, who gets off an Intimidate, so I'm forced to switch into What the Lapras while he reduces my defense with Leer. I use Ice Beam and take a Hydro Pump, which unfortunately I am not water absorbed, but 2 more Ice Beams is just enough to do it while Lapras continues to eat Hydro Pumps because of the large amount of HP EVs. Next up is Rhyhorn, so I get to go for Surf to easily knock it out, and in comes Execute. And What fears nothing, so we go for another Ice Beam to take it out. But here comes the real threat that What might not be ready for, and that is Alakazam. Zam gets off with a Calm Mind while I go for a Surf, and next turn I get rocked by Alakazam, who disables my Surf, preventing my attack. If I went for it, that is, as Lapras goes for Body Slam, who actually has a decent attack stat, so that brings Alakazam to red HP. But here it comes. Alakazam goes for a +1 Psychic, and What the Lapras holds with 20 HP and takes it down with another Body Slam. Again, another threat comes out in the ace Pokemon Charizard. With Lapras at low HP, I have to switch into Cappy the Gyarados, who takes a Flamethrower on switch in. I then get hit with a critical hit Flamethrower plus Burn, and do end up landing a Surf, so I have to switch out again into Big Boy the Snorlax. It looks to be getting worse and worse, so I go for a Yawn, taking another Flamethrower, and then double to Gia on another Flamethrower. Charizard finally falls asleep, opening up Gia to lane an ancient power to take down Charizard. That got a lot closer than I thought, but we still defeated him, but the next time won't be as easy. I get through Victory Road and begin preparation for the Elite Four, EV training and evolving our Nidoqueen and leveling up all of our members to the level cap. Additionally, giving TMs like Earthquake and Brick Break to Nidoqueen, Thunderbolt to Gengar, Shockwave to Lapras, and going back to the Rock Tunnel to teach Aerodactyl Rock Slide via Tutor. And with that, we're ready to take on the Elite Four. Going into the Elite Four, we have Big Boy the Snorlax with HP and attack EVs, Gabba the Gengar with special attack and speed EVs, Cappy the Gyarados with HP and speed EVs, What the Lapras with speed and special attack EVs, Queen the Nidoqueen with HP and speed EVs, and Gia the Aerodactyl with attack and speed EVs. Our first opponent of the Elite Four is the Ice Specialist Lorelei. She leads off with Dugong as I lead with Big Boy the Snorlax. She sets up Hail while I go for a Body Slam, which is a 3-hit KO. The next turn she goes for Safeguard as I almost take it down with a Body Slam. The following turn she uses a Full Restore, which is great to get out of the way this early as I go for Strength. Snorlax should be able to win this 1v1 easily, and we get frozen from Ice Beam. And for those that don't know, in Generation 3, getting unfrozen is simply a 20% chance each turn. We luckily prevail and get off a rest, meaning once Big Boy wakes up, we can take down Dugong with a critical hit Body Slam. Out comes Cloyster. I switch into What the Lapras since Cloyster's only attacking move is Dive, which I resist. And then I can go for a Shockwave, doing great damage as Cloyster gets up a layer of spikes. And I take down Cloyster with another Shockwave the next turn. Next is Slowbro, so I continue to go for Shockwaves as I take a Yawn. I then pivot to Cappy the Gyarados, taking another Yawn on switch in. Wait, did he just Yawn twice? I pivot to Lapras and he just yawned a third time. Back to Gyarados a fourth time? What the hell is happening? I decide to stay in just to go for Bite, and of course this turn the Slowbro stays in and goes for Ice Beam as I fall asleep. I stay asleep for a few turns as Slowbro just spams Yawn for some reason, so I finally wake up and take it down with Strength. Out comes Jinx, so I go for Strength before being put to sleep with a Lovely Kiss. I pivot to Big Boy the Snorlax and get hard predicted with an Attract and then get hit with Lovely Kiss the next turn. So I have to pivot into What the Lapras on the Ice Punch. which I actually outspeed Jinx and take it down with a body slam, just showing that those speed EVs paid off. Finally is Lorelai's ace Pokemon Lapras. It's a Lapras off as we go jab for jab with body slams, but Lorelai's Lapras is the first to get a paralysis. We still land a Shockwave the next turn doing nothing, so I know I need to switch in a Gap of the Gengar on an incoming body slam, which I then can go for Thunderbolt, taking it down, and we have beaten the first Elite Four member. I quickly heal to face the next one. Our second opponent of the Elite Four is Bruno, a master of fighting type Pokemon. He leads off with Onix as I lead with Cappy the Gyarados and instantly obliterate it with Surf. Next is Hitmonchan, who threatens me out with a Rock Tomb, so I pivot to Queen the Nidoqueen. I then take a Sky Uppercut, not doing much damage as I land a Rock Tomb to reduce his speed. I then go for Earthquake, doing great damage and take another Rock Tomb, but I still outspeed thanks to my speed EVs and take it down with another Earthquake. Next is another Onix, so I pivot to Cappy the Gyarados on Earthquake and one-shot it easily with Surf. Next out is Bruno's ace Pokemon Machamp. I pivot to Nidoqueen as he goes for Bulk Up. I attempt to reduce its speed, hoping that will be useful in the future, but miss as he gets up another Bulk Up. Yikes. I go for an Earthquake doing absolutely nothing, so I pivot to Gabba the Gengar, who gets hit with a Scary Face on switch in, meaning I could be slower and might get taken out by a Rock Tomb. So I double to Nidoqueen and then back to Gabby the Gengar. I just have to risk it and hopefully he won't go for Rock Tomb, so I go for Psychic and luckily he went for Scary Face, which is still enough to force me out to switch out into Cappy the Gyarados to Intimidate and then back into Nidoqueen, who he cross chops. Okay, maybe he will never go for Rock Tomb, so I go Cappy again for another Intimidate and try to take it down with Surf, but barely miss the KO as he finally goes for Rock Tomb. I pivot Nidoqueen, and shit, he just full restored. I pivot Gyarados for another Intimidate before I go Nidoqueen, as Bruno sees me constantly pivoting, so he gets up another Bulk Up. I finally stay in for a Surf, taking a critical hit cross chop, meaning my Gyarados can't keep coming in. I'm starting to panic, so I pivot Gabba in the hope that he doesn't go for Rock Tomb, and thankfully he doesn't. And I miss out the Psychic KO again as he Scary Faces, so I have to pivot to Nidoqueen and fuck me, another full Restorer. I'm either getting completely outplayed or overthinking things. I Rock Tomb to reduce his speed as I get hit with the Scary Face. I then pivot to Gabba the Gengar, and now of course he goes for Rock Tomb. I mean, what the fuck is this AI? But I just go for Psychic as Gabba dodges the Rock Tomb. That could have been scary, and takes it down with another Psychic the next turn. The final member is Hitmonlee, who dies to 2 Psychics before he can go for a Foresight into a fighting move. Wow, that was terrifying. I have never had a bad experience against Bruno before, but that got very close. Our third opponent of the Elite Four is Agatha. With the original Unk title, she uses Ghost Pokemon. She leads with Gengar as I lead with Gia the Aerodactyl, going for a Wing Attack and taking a Confuse Ray. Next turn, I still manage to land on a Wing Attack and take out Gengar. Arbok comes out with Intimidate, so I pivot to Queen the Nidoqueen as my defense drops from Screech. I go for Earthquake, putting Arbok in red HP, so Agatha uses a full restore as I again go for Earthquake. I go for another Earthquake as Agatha switches into Haunter with Levitate, preventing my attack. I did not realize she plays game like that. Knowing what this Haunter has done to Cinnamon the Sandslash in the previous run, I know a combination of Hypnosis plus Mean Look is incoming. Luckily, I gave my Gabba the Gengar my only Chesto Berry before the fight started, so I hard switch into it on a Mean Look and can KO Haunter with a Psychic. Out comes Golbat, so I go for a Thunderbolt to take it out in one hit. Back in is Arbok, so I can go for another Thunderbolt as Agatha wastes a full restore, and I can KO it with a Psychic the following turn. Agatha's Ace Gengar comes out, who I barely miss out on KOing, but still have a Chesto when she goes for Hypnosis, so that's a dub for me after I go for another Psychic. Before the next Elite Four member, I utilize all the rare candies I preserved during the run, and our final Elite Four member is the most infamous as he cooked our last run. the Dragon Tamer Lance, who you know is built different when they gave him his own special room. He leads off with Gyarados as I lead with What the Lapras. I go for Shockwave doing over half HP and take a Dragon Rage. I then go for another Shockwave, taking down the Gyarados easily. Out comes Aerodactyl, and fearful of a rock type move, I pivot into Nidoqueen and take an Ancient Power on entry. I then get hit with a Wing Attack, but actually get a Poison Point proc as I land a Rock Tomb. What is even better is because of my speed EVs, I can outspeed the next turn and get off another Rock Tomb as they go for Scary Face. Lance goes for a full restore as I land another Rock Tomb. I then get hit with another Wing Attack as I land another Rock Tomb, bringing it to half HP and decide maybe from this range I could take it out with a superpower. But I barely miss out on the KO, and luckily Aerodactyl did not go for a Wing Attack, which could have taken me out due to my defense drop. But now I know he will see a kill with Hyper Beam, so I pivot into What the Lapras, taking the Hyper Beam. I then go for Shockwave to take it out next turn. Out comes Dragonair, so I stay in and go for an Ice Beam, taking it out in one shot. Next is another Dragonair, who goes down to another Ice Beam. Finally is Lance's ace Pokemon Dragonite. I pivot into Cappy the Gyarados, not knowing whether he's going for a Hyper Beam or Outrage, which it ends up being Hyper Beam. So I stay in the next turn and get off some small strength damage. I then pivot into Big Boy as he goes for a Safeguard. I then take an Outrage as I go for Body Slam and proc his Citrus Berry. I take another Outrage, which is unfortunately a critical hit, so I have to pivot. Knowing that I need Aerodactyl and Gengar for the rival fight, I am super hesitant to send them out, as if Dragonite goes for Hyper Beam, we're fine, but if it goes for Outrage, they could die immediately on the spot. So my plan of action changes, and I just stay in? Not sure exactly what I was thinking here, but thankfully Dragonite hits itself and we take it down with a Body Slam. The plot armor thickens as we have one final battle stopping us from becoming a champion. In the champion room is the wannabe PBO champion, the Frederick Klefkes, who will do anything to block our path of becoming the champion of the Kanto region. It all comes down to this: whether my team of well-trained goobers can take on the king of the drafting dojo. With no starter by my side, we have to power through this final fight. He leads off with Pidgeot as I lead off with Gia the Aerodactyl, and I go for a Rock Slide, not picking up the KO. What the hell did I even EV train, if not to kill this thing? We take an interlace damage as Klefkes uses his first full restore, and I land another Rock Slide, following it up with an Ancient Power the next turn to take down Pidgeot. Up next is Gyarados, getting off an Intimidate, so I need to pivot into What the Lapras, taking a Hydro Pump on switch in. I then go for Shockwave, doing over half HP and take a Dragon Rage. The next turn, another Shockwave takes down Gyarados. Out comes Rhydon, who just gets insta-clapped by What Surf. The next Pokemon is Executor. And empowering Darwin the Vaporeon's energy from attempt 4, Lapras goes for an Ice Beam and just one-shots Eggy. 2 Pokemon left, the first being Alakazam. I take a Psychic and go for Body Slam, doing over half health, and now I'm forced to switch into Big Boy as Alakazam goes for a Future Sight. He then goes for Reflect, allowing him to live my next Body Slam. I then take Future Sight damage, which does nothing. I eat a Psychic next turn and get off a Body Slam, paralyzing the Zam and paralyzing myself due to Synchronize. And holy shit, Klefkes, you sick bastard, used his third full restore and lives another Body Slam. I get hit with another Psychic, living in order to get off a Yawn. I now have no switch-ins as I have to keep my Gyarados healthy for Charizard and have to sack Queen the Nidoqueen. Except we take the Psychic living on 27 HP because we are simply built different. We aren't going home losing any Pokemon. Next turn, Alakazam is fast asleep, meaning we take it down with an Earthquake. And the final Pokemon left is our rival's ace Pokemon Charizard. I pivot into Cappy the Gyarados to get off an Intimidate. I then go for Surf, taking another Fire Blast. I then pivot to Aerodactyl, trying to preserve all 6 Pokemon, and live a Fire Blast that, if it crit me, would have taken me out. But thankfully not, and I outspeed it next turn and go for a 100% accurate Ancient Power to take down Charizard. I finally beat the Frederick Klefkis, and this is how it feels. After winning the battle, I can't help but say that even in this small bubble of a hardcore Nuzlocke challenge, things finally feel the way it's supposed to feel. The time spent playing this game for over a month to finally call myself a champion was worth it. I admittedly rushed through this attempt quicker than my others, but I had such a great time playing with it, and with an internal game time of 91 hours and 58 minutes and 14 hours of in real life time, we beat our hardcore Nuzlocke attempt of Pokemon Leafgreen. I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and if you have any recommendations for the editing of these videos or what to do next, feel free to comment below. Hopefully more videos in 2026, only time will tell. Thanks for watching, peace.